I am about to eat the most expensive bowl of beef noodles on the planet. This isn't just any noodle soup, this is presidential beef noodle soup. It's rumored to be served to world leaders. Right next to it, a regular, everyday bowl of beef noodles you can get for just a few bucks. On the surface, they look almost the same, but one costs 100 times more. Scam, or is there a secret worth a new gaming console? We're breaking down every element. Beef broth garnishes. But here's the catch. I'm challenging you to spot the difference. I'll give clues throughout. Guess which bowl is presidential. Guess right, you're a certified food genius. Guess wrong, you have to subscribe. Deal? The ultimate food showdown. $300 masterpiece versus $3 street classic. We'll scientifically analyze taste test and go deeper than anyone ever has into beef noodles. By the end, we'll answer, biggest flex in food history, or genuinely the best thing you could ever eat? Let's find out. The challenge starts now. Alright, first up, the most important part of beef noodle soup, the beef. Now, one of these bowls has beef that was probably sourced from a regular supplier. Totally fine, tastes good. But the other one, it's a whole different universe. The presidential bowl uses ultra-premium, fully traceable beef. We're talking about cattle that probably listen to classical music and get daily massages. The chefs literally know the name of the farm and maybe even the cow. It's an insane level of detail. This isn't just any steak. It's a carefully selected cut chosen for its marbling and flavor profile. For the presidential bowl, they don't just use any cut. They might use something insane like a 28-day dry-aged ribeye or even A5 Wagyu, which melts in your mouth like butter. The regular bowl uses a standard shank or flank steak, which is delicious when cooked right, but it's a completely different texture and flavor. The fat-to-meat ratio is standard, designed for a hearty, everyday meal. The presidential version is engineered for a peak culinary experience where every single bite is meant to be savored and analyzed. The difference in sourcing alone is astronomical. So look closely at these two bowls. Bowl A has beef with incredible marbling. You can see the fat woven through the meat like a spider web. Bowl B has leaner-looking slices, more uniform in color. Before I tell you which is which, I want you to guess. Which bowl do you think has the dry-aged, top-tier beef that costs a fortune? Is it the visibly fatty one, or is the secret hidden in the leaner-looking cut? Lock in your guess right now in the comments. Next, let's talk about the broth. Which broth is liquid gold? This is the soul of the entire dish. If the beef is the star player, the broth is the entire team supporting them. For the regular bowl of noodles, the broth is probably made in a few hours. They might use some beef bones, ginger, star anise, and a commercial soup base to speed things up. It's quick, it's efficient, and it gets the job done. It tastes like beef, and it's warm and comforting. Absolutely nothing wrong with that on a cold day. But the presidential broth, it's a science experiment in flavor. We're talking about a multi-day process. They start with a mountain of different bones, marrow bones for richness, knuckle bones for collagen, and meaty bones for that deep, beefy flavor. They roast them first to develop caramelization, then simmer them for 24 hours, then simmer them for 48 hours, or even 72 hours. The chefs are constantly skimming it to ensure it becomes perfectly clear, a beautiful deep amber color. It's not just soup, it's a consomme, clarified and purified to its essence. This process creates a broth with an unbelievable depth of umami and a silky, lip-coating texture from all the rendered collagen. When you taste it, it's not just one note of beef. You get layers of flavor, the roasted notes, the sweetness from vegetables, the spice from aromatics. They also finish it with special oils, maybe a scallion-infused oil, or a secret chili oil that adds another dimension right at the end. The regular broth is a simple song. The presidential broth is a full symphony orchestra. Okay, it's challenge time. I'm going to take a giant slurp from each bowl. Listen carefully. Slurp from bowl A. Now slurp from bowl B. Look at the clarity of the liquid on the spoon. Bowl A has a slightly cloudy, darker broth. Bowl B's broth is crystal clear like a jewel. Which one do you think simmered for 3 days straight? Pause the video and make your guess. Is the clear one the complex one, or is the darker one hiding more flavor? Let's get back to the main event, the beef itself. It's not just about the quality of the cut, it's about how it's prepared. This is where the difference between good and mind-blowing shows up. In the regular bowl, thin slices of beef, quickly stir-fried, or briefly boiled in the broth. Cooked fast, satisfying, slightly chewy texture that holds up in hot soup. Familiar, reliable. Exactly what you expect from a quick, hearty meal. The presidential bowl treats the beef like a holy relic. Thick, substantial cuts, short rib, tendon, bone marrow. Not boiled. Slow braised for 6 to 8 hours in an intensely flavored liquid until unbelievably tender. Goal: break down connective tissue and render fat, so the meat practically falls apart. Low and slow, patience and precision. Result: a textural masterpiece. Meltingly soft short rib, gelatinous, sticky tendon, scoopable bone marrow, beef butter. Combination of textures you don't get in the standard bowl. Not just meat, a curated beef experience. One is a quick bite, the other, a journey through tenderness. Now, the tenderness test. Watch as I press with a fork. Bowl A, I press. It shreds with almost no effort, like cutting through butter. Bowl B, I press. There's resistance. Tender but with chew. Listen, soft tear versus chewy bite. Which was slow braised for 8 hours? Make your decision. You can't have beef noodle soup without the noodles. This is another area where the two bowls go in completely opposite directions. For our everyday, regular bowl, we're most likely looking at mass-produced noodles. They come dried or pre-packaged, and they're made by a machine. They are consistent. They cook quickly. They soak up the broth. They're the reliable workhorse of the noodle world, giving you that satisfying slurp you crave. But for the presidential bowl? Oh no, artisan craftsmanship. These noodles are often made fresh, in-house, just hours or even minutes before being served. Hand-pulled noodles. A chef stretches and folds dough into hundreds of strands. Knife-cut noodles. Each piece sliced by hand, rustic edges that catch sauce and broth. The difference is texture, what experts call Q or QQ. Springy, bouncy, chewy. Let's talk about the invisible powerhouse of flavor, the seasonings and aromatics. In a regular bowl of beef noodles, the seasoning is straightforward and effective. You'll have standard soy sauce, maybe some cooking wine, star anise, cinnamon, white pepper. These are the classic building blocks that create that familiar, comforting flavor profile. It's a tried-and-true formula that delivers a consistent and delicious result every single time. It's the flavor of home for many people. The presidential bowl, however, approaches seasoning like a perfumer blending a fine fragrance. They use a premium, first-draw, aged soy sauce. They use an aged black vinegar that adds a mellow, malty tang. They use rare, single-origin peppercorns. Sichuan peppercorns, Kampot peppercorns, toasted and ground just before serving. This is all about layering aromas. Chefs bloom spices in hot oil to release essential oils, creating a fragrant base. They infuse oils with ginger, scallions, garlic, then drizzle on top in slow-mo. You don't just taste the flavor, you smell it intensely before the bowl even gets to your table. The aroma hits you first, preparing your palate for the complexity to come. It's the difference between a poster and a 4K movie. Now, join me in a sniff-along. Wafting bowl A toward the camera. Immediate sharp peppery hit, then deep sweet roasted notes. Wafting bowl B. Beefy, savory with a hint of star anise. Which one has the fresh pepper bloom and layered aged seasonings? Which one smells like it costs $300? Sniff your screen and decide. We're moving on to the finishing touches, the garnishes. This is what you see first, and it sets your expectation for the entire meal. In a standard bowl of beef noodles, the garnishes are classic and functional. You'll get a generous sprinkle of freshly chopped scallions or cilantro, and maybe some pickled mustard greens on the side. These add a crucial bit of freshness, a sharp bite, and a pop of color to cut through the richness of the broth. They are essential components that complete the dish in a traditional way. The presidential bowl, on the other hand, takes garnishes into the realm of pure luxury. This is where chefs really show off. Instead of just chopped scallions, you might find delicate scallion blossoms or finely julienned ginger that has been carefully curled in ice water. They might add things that have nothing to do with traditional beef noodle soup, like a drizzle of white truffle oil or even flakes of actual edible gold leaf, which adds absolutely zero flavor but costs a fortune. This is the biggest question of the whole video. Are these upgrades genuinely enhancing the flavor, or are they just a flex? Does a piece of gold leaf make the beef taste better? Probably not. But does it make the experience feel more special and luxurious? Absolutely. It's a statement piece. It's the culinary equivalent of wearing a diamond watch. Some additions, like the scallion blossoms, do add a more delicate onion flavor, but others are purely for show. So let's look at our two bowls. Bowl A is adorned with what looks like tiny, elegant green flowers, a swirl of shimmering oil, and yes, I can see flecks of gold sparkling under the light. Bowl B has a healthy, rustic pile of chopped green onions and some pickled greens. The question for you is, do you think the fancy upgrades in Bowl A actually contribute to the taste, or is it all for show? And more importantly, which bowl's presentation makes you want to dive in more? Decide if you're paying for flavor or for the flex. Now we dive into the invisible art of cooking, technique and timing. For a busy high-volume noodle shop, the goal is speed and consistency. A big pot of broth simmering all day. They cook the noodles, the beef, and the vegetables. It's a one-pot shortcut, an assembly line. The noodles are boiled, then they're drained, put into a bowl. Hot broth is ladled over and pre-cooked beef is added on top. It's an assembly line that produces a hot meal in minutes. The presidential approach is all about precision and control. The noodles, for example, are blanched for a precise number of seconds, 47 seconds, then immediately plunged into an ice bath. This shock cooling stops cooking instantly and firms the noodles. The vegetables are blanched separately to keep their color and crispness. Nothing is just thrown together. Even the beef gets a final touch. After slow braising, it might be seared with a blowtorch right before serving. That creates a Maillard crust and a caramelized surface. Contrast that crust with the meltingly tender interior. This level of technique is about controlling every variable. A difference of just 5 seconds can change texture from perfectly QQ to slightly soft. It's an obsession with perfection. So look at the two bowls again. In Bowl A, the noodles have a distinct, firm shape. The greens in Bowl A are vibrant, bright green. The beef in Bowl A has a subtle dark char on the edges. In Bowl B, the noodles look a little softer. The noodles in Bowl B have absorbed more of the broth's color. The greens in Bowl B are slightly wilted from the heat. Based on these visual cues, which bowl was timed to the literal second? Which one got the blowtorch treatment? Lock it in. We're almost at the end, and now we need to talk about two massive factors: price and context. The regular bowl, at around $3, is an everyday meal. It's comfort food. It's what you eat on your lunch break after a long day when you're craving something hot and savory. Its value lies in its accessibility, its reliability, and its ability to satisfy a fundamental need for a delicious, affordable meal. There's no story required. The food speaks for itself in a simple, direct way. The presidential bowl at $300 is not an everyday meal. It's a special occasion, a celebration, a culinary event. You don't eat this for a quick lunch. The price tag includes more than just the ingredients, the chef's expertise, the hours of labor, the luxurious restaurant environment, and most importantly, the story. You're paying for the narrative, the story of the traceable beef, the 3-day broth, the hand-pulled noodles. It's a ceremonial dish, often available in very limited quantities each day. This context completely changes how you perceive the food. When you know the story behind each ingredient and the painstaking technique involved, you taste it differently. You savor each bite more carefully. You look for the complexity in the broth and the tenderness of the beef because you've been told it's there. The experience itself, the fancy restaurant, the detailed explanation, the beautiful presentation, becomes part of the flavor. It's the placebo effect, but for fine dining. So here's the final question before the big reveal. Does the experience alone change the taste? If you were served both bowls without knowing the price or the story, would the presidential one still taste 100 times better? Or does knowing that you're eating something rare, expensive, and ceremonial elevate the flavor in your mind? Think about it. The moment of truth has arrived. All the analysis, all the history, all the challenges. It all comes down to this. I'm going to be blindfolded, and my team is going to switch the bowls around so I have no idea which is which. I'm going to taste them one last time, purely on flavor and texture, and give you my final, unbiased verdict. This is where we find out if the $300 price tag is justified by taste alone. I want you to lock in your final guess right now. Which one is the presidential bowl? Bowl A or Bowl B? I put on a blindfold. Okay, I'm completely blind. Hand me the first spoon. Slurps. Okay, this one. The broth is very savory, very beefy. It's delicious and comforting. The noodles are soft. The beef has a nice chew. It tastes like a really, really good bowl of classic beef noodle soup. It's solid. It's a 9 out of 10 for a regular bowl. It hits all the right notes. It's exactly what I want when I think of this dish. Now hand me the second spoon. Slurps. Whoa, okay. That is different. The broth is incredibly clean but has this insane depth. I can taste the roasted bones, the aromatics. It's not just salty, it's a wave of umami. The beef, wow, it just dissolved on my tongue. There was no chewing involved. And the noodles have this incredible, bouncy, springy texture that's so satisfying. The aftertaste just lingers. It's a completely different level of complexity and refinement. There is absolutely no question. The second bowl I tasted is an experience. The first one was a meal. So, the final reveal, take off my blindfold. The second bowl I tasted was Bowl A. Bowl A is the presidential beef noodle soup. Did you guess right? Let me know in the comments if you were a food genius from the start. The difference, when you taste them side by side, is shocking. So, there you have it. The presidential beef noodle soup is, without a doubt, on a completely different planet from the regular version. The quality of the ingredients, the insane amount of time and technique, and the complexity of the flavors. It's not just a scam or a flex with gold leaf, there is real, tangible substance behind the price tag. The difference was way bigger than I even expected. It's one of the best things I have ever eaten in my entire life, and that's not an exaggeration. Final satisfying bite. But the ultimate question remains, is it worth $300? And the answer is, it depends. Is it 100 times better than the $3 bowl? No. The $3 bowl is delicious and comforting, and for an everyday meal, it's perfect. The $300 bowl isn't an everyday meal, it's a work of art. You're paying for the peak of culinary craftsmanship, a story, and an unforgettable experience. The verdict. It's an experience. It's like asking if a Lamborghini is worth it compared to a Toyota. They both get you from A to B, but one offers an entirely different experience. If you are a massive foodie and want to see how far a simple dish can be pushed, then yes, for the experience alone, it's worth trying once in your life. Thank you so much for watching this crazy food adventure. Don't forget to let me know if you guessed correctly. And if you didn't, you know the deal. Hit that subscribe button. We do crazy challenges like this all the time, and you don't want to miss the next one. See you in the next video.